Oh, golly bum. Woo, got a little lightheaded. What? Yeah.
That squeak sets the tone. Welcome to the Caleb Davis Show. So as you can probably tell, there's a somber mood in the room this evening.
It's a mood full of pumpkin spiced lattes.
There's a chill in the air.
Festive scarves.
See?
Old man Rimshaw.
Old man Rimshaw.
He's come to life.
He is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, everyone.
Hey there.
This is another episode of the Caleb Davis Show. This is our special Halloween edition.
We're very excited.
It is. It's very exciting. What we gonna get on today? We're not gonna necessarily do a top 5. Jay, what do we got?
What we're going to discuss are just in general a list of terrifying songs. And we've sat here for a while, just a moment of transparency, thinking through our history with like rock music or just all kind of music really, and what has just been. And we'll just interrupt this message to clarify. We're not talking like like this really superficial, either like grotesque metal, like death doom.
Yeah.
That's not scary. And we're also not talking about like, I don't know, Kiss and Alice Cooper. We're talking about
Kiss.
legit, like, you know, like.
Yeah, this is not gonna be like, I'm not even gonna call it death. This is not gonna be dead metal. Like people who are going out of their way to try to be scary.
Yeah.
The truth is that comes across more as cheesy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like and cheesy is not going to be a part of our scariest song list.
So this is stuff that has legitimately, in moments of listening to music, given us like a heavy, like, wow, this is it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean, and so with all of that, I think it makes for a more genuine, I don't know, Halloween-based discussion.
Yeah.
But also makes for a little bit more difficult of a list. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that we would say, man, that's dark, or man, that's heavy, but it wasn't necessarily that kind of irksome, like,
right,
terrifying.
Right. Yeah. And you'll notice quickly, there's no Alice Cooper on this list.
No.
And there's no, and like you said, if you tried to be scary, it didn't come right,
Yeah.
right? It's just like, all right, let's on to the next one.
Right.
And if it sounds like there's a bowling alley in my house, it's because I have 4 children, and more than likely they're taking their little brother and they're bowling with him upstairs.
That's right.
I mean, seriously, that's a loud noise.
It's a little stampede-ish.
It is. All right.
You might not even know. You might be thinking like, well, that sounds fun to me.
Sounds like my house.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got my list over here. I'm gonna look at it from time to time. But Jay,
Yeah.
you want to get us going, man?
Yeah, I'm going to get us going with, so I'll tell you what, because we haven't talked about how we're going to do this. This is what we'll do.
Okay.
I'm just going to pick one.
Okay.
And I don't think we need to necessarily keep the artists together. So you'll notice there's going to be an artist or two that are going to repeat. They just tend to be darker kind of artists.
I got it. You go ahead. You
And
talk.
so I'll
Impression.
just pick one that I think is just super dark, and then you pick one, and we'll just kind of go back and forth.
You got it.
All right. So
This is not a top 10.
No.
This is just a list of songs that through our lives have scared us. And I
been
think you were
scary.
clear about that. And
Yeah.
see, if he doesn't stay still, he's going to start scaring me.
It's going to be just something.
Go ahead.
Just leave him there.
Go ahead. Let's see
maybe
what you got.
forward lean.
Yeah, we'll get him a forward.
So my first one that I want to discuss is "The End" by The Doors.
Yeah, that's a scary one.
It's a scary song. This is the end, my only friend. The end. And it just kind of goes and escalates from there into a lot of screaming and like some really quiet moments and some really big moments, and it's just all rooted. It's like this D minor kind of a thing the whole time. And we've talked about, actually, we reviewed the album that the song is from. Yeah. So I'm sure we talked a little bit about it on the review of their debut album, The Doors, self-titled. But my first one, if you want to add day to it, is The End by The Doors.
I got you. I think that's great. Come on, ride the snake to the lake. The ancient snake. Yeah. That's terrifying.
It's scary.
My first pick, I don't know how we're rolling that out, but my first pick is going to be Careful with That Axe Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can just listen to it, and if you want to hear the most terrifying, don't listen to the one on Relics. It's scary.
Sure.
They're all scary. But listen to the one that was on the Live at Pompeii, 1971, 72-ish. The live concert DVD they did, or the one on Ummagumma.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, dude. We're Gastonia. It's Ummagumma.
It's Uma.
I know everybody I've heard review like Ummagumma was no. It's Ummagumma. All right.
Absolutely.
So Careful with That Axe Eugene. Roger does his incredible blood curdling scream, and you get the sense that you're in the mind of a psycho axe killer.
And just as a side note about Pink Floyd in this way, there's a lot more to Pink Floyd than Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 in money. And I don't mean just like they've got this really dark stuff. I mean, in general, there's a lot more in a lot of directions. There's a lot more acoustically. There's a lot more avant-garde. There's a lot more dark. There's a lot more rock. There's a lot more... Pink Floyd has a lot to offer. And one of those things is this particularly scary song, Careful with That Axe Eugene.
Yeah. And we could also just go ahead and throw in there's a few bands that Justin and I just were like, we could really put half of their discography on there. And go ahead and take one of the bands so we've already mentioned two of them.
Yeah.
The Doors and Pink Floyd. You really could kind of get into Pink Floyd, and I'll just throw a couple of these out there. They're not worth really investing a ton of time in, but
sure.
But One of These Days is terrifying. I have a story. I remember being at home by myself listening to Metal, the album Metal, by Pink Floyd when I was a wee lad, and nobody was home, and I don't know why I was there by myself, but I was probably 11 or 12 or something like that. But I remember hearing that, and when Nick Mason did his "One of these days I'm gonna cut you into little pieces," and then
rocks,
that was
dude.
Oh gosh, this song is so awesome. But that really trippy bass tremolo, it's a dotted eighth, really hard cut delay with a really hard cut tremolo, and then it's that. That's just a creepy sound.
Oh
man.
yeah.
And then to have that voice come in over the top of it, super distorted.
Yeah.
All right, but Floyd. We're gonna have a couple other Floyds too.
A couple other Floyds in there too. I'm gonna go ahead and mention one that we were talking about from the Beatles. The Beatles have some dark stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Blue Jay Way. There's a fog upon L.A. I mean, it's just like this stuff gets really. And then the whole thing, part of what makes this song creepy and dark is it starts off with this organ going, bah, 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 and it follows this kind of chord structure that's real kind of like happy, and then this, da, na, 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 and it's just real
it's
heavy.
Almost tribal sounding.
Dirgy, yeah. So that's just, for the Beatles anyway, who, they've got some dark stuff. That's a cool one. Yeah. Don't sleep on Blue Jay Way.
We had an honorable mention in the Beatles category, too. A little Revolution Number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Revolution Number 9, I don't know if you want to call it a song. It's definitely a piece of work, so
sure.
it's going as a song. And, that's a pretty scary thing as well. I'm gonna jump ship here on the rock thing just for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to bring up two competitors. And if you listen to these two pieces... back to back, your thought process is going to be that they were competitors in Scariest. All right, they were not. These are early 20th century composers, Igor Stravinsky and Arnold Schoenberg. The Book of Hanging Gardens, folks, Piero Lunaire. If you just want to listen to every piece, every movement in that piece, it's the 12-tone system, which is not going to sound pleasant to your ear at all. It might be a piano, and you know, if you know anything about the 12-tone system, you have to play all 12 tones before you can repeat any of the 12.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like our ears are not established really well to understand and hear that as something pleasant and easy to listen to.
Right.
But on top of that, he employed this technique with his vocalist called, I'm going to see if I can say it right, but it's German. It's called Sprechstimme. All right, and what it is, it's kind of a spoken inflection. So you have this lady while this piano's like, boom, 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 like it's creepy. But then all of a sudden she's going, hey, Vin's own face on pay. Listen, I know it's coming and it still scares me.
Yeah.
The other one is the great Igor Stravinsky, and there was a couple that I could throw out there. I do think the intro to the Firebird is pretty creepy with the do 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 do.
Is that the tableau?
Yeah.
Number one?
Yeah, it is. That's scary. But I think more scary than that is the sacrifice section of The Rite of Spring.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to try to sing that because it's pretty dissonant. But if you want to go listen to The Rite of Spring in general by Stravinsky, you know, there's legends surrounding this, and I don't know how real the legends are, but here's what I was taught, and this is what has kind of circulated. In 1911, this thing debuted in London, and there was it's set to a ballet, actually, but the dancers didn't wear leotards and pink and, you know, whatever. They wore tribal wear with, like, faces painted. They looked super demented, and this is in 1911, and they have I've seen people remake it before because we have all the diagrams for it and all the blueprints for how it's supposed to be designed, and the choreography was anything but pleasant. It was really violent and lots of fist pumping, lots of jumping around, and it was really just aggressive, like slam dancing almost.
More like a mosh pit.
It really was. And you're setting it to this theme of these sacrifices and this weird, like, prehistoric era of things. Yeah. And Stravinsky's music equaled that. And the legend has it at this point, it's over 100 years old, that the night it debuted, a riot broke out. It upset the people so much that it carried out into the streets, and it started a large-scale riot in London, which is amazing.
Oh, that is wild.
But The Rite of Spring...
and we just listened to that one. So the sacrifice, when we were talking through what should be on this list, he pulled it up, we listened to it. I'm not as versed in some of this classical stuff as Caleb is, but that was like my first time really kind of listening to it. I mean, I'm familiar with the idea of The Rite of Spring and Stravinsky and all that. But this sacrifice tune is really dissonant and, like, just uncomfortable kind of to listen to, but intriguing, like, makes you want to keep listening to it. So, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with a band called Blood Rock.
Oh.
For this next one. And I'm going to go with, so there's two songs. I think we'll just hit them both. In particular, Blood Rock is a really cool band. Blood Rock grooves. They've got a cool sounding vocalist. Especially their first few albums are real hard rocking stuff. A lot of good riffs. Just a lot of good 70s rock sounds. They have a song called DOA. Dead on Arrival is what it means.
This is not a band trying to be scary either.
No, they're not trying to be scary. This is just like a legit song. And I think this actually got a decent amount of airplay. Like, it was on Rolling Stone, had a list of 25 terrifying songs. And you can imagine if Rolling Stone's putting it out, it's not going to be super, super deep cuts on there.
Okay.
I don't know.
I could imagine that was not a deep cut. But I guess you're right. I mean, I think my dad told me a long time ago it got some play.
I mean, so for it to make a Rolling Stone list. Anyway, but it just, it describes a plane crash in the first person, right?
In the first person.
And, like, I'm seeing this, I'm looking at this, and it has to do with, like, people that are just have a blank stare, like, staring off. Like, people that in a plane crash that have died. Like,
they're white.
It's a pretty twisted tune, but still in the rock category. I look down to move my legs, but notice there's
nothing there.
Right, yeah.
He's got his legs torn off of him.
Yeah.
It's like,
Some scary stuff,
yeah,
folks.
it's some twisted stuff.
The song that I like better, and I think that because there's some novelty to that, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of novel. Like we said, we're not gonna like put superficial stuff on this list. I don't think they're really trying, but there's a little bit of novelty to like describing a plane crash in the first person. They have another song called "Fantastic Piece of Architecture."
That's the winner.
And this one is the winner because I think it's in those senses it's a lot less of kind of this like gimmicky thing. It's legit poetry. I think it's good. And it's about this guy who walks down to this house and dies.
He lays in the floor and dies.
He lays down and dies. And it's a fantastic piece
verse,
of architecture.
But verse by verse, you make your way there.
Oh, yeah. So it's not like this whole thing is not about death. It's about this thing. And then you realize kind of the premise of the plot of this tune. And then the hook of the song is a fantastic piece of architecture. So I think really in a lot of ways it's a tremendous song.
It is.
A great
So is
writing.
DOA.
Oh, yeah. DOA, yeah.
Did DOA?
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick.
Yeah.
I was about 13 years old. And my dad sat me down. And I don't know, Dad, if you're watching this, I ain't real sure what you were thinking. But my dad sat me down and he played me The Breach of Lease, which is awesome.
Yeah,
right?
That's awesome.
But Breach of Lease is no happy-go-lucky.
I mean, it's a
song
heavy
either.
tune, yeah.
Yeah, it's really dark and heavy, but it's not scary. It's just dark and heavy. All right, he goes from that back to back. Then he played me DOA and Fantastic Piece of Architecture. And listen, I got so like I was paying attention to the words and I was listening to what Justin was saying, and it did something to my brain.
Yeah.
I had to it took me a minute to come out of it. Like it freaked me out.
Yeah.
Sent me into like a little panic attack or something. And I was like, what is happening? You know, like
oh yeah.
Like and I mean, I had to go like watch Braves baseball on rerun and like just something light, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Andy Griffith, which is where the great old man Rimshaw comes from.
Rimschultz.
And those two songs back to back when I was 13 warped me.
Oh yeah.
And it was wild. All right, but you have anything else you want to put on this?
That's good.
All right, I got a story about this next one on mine.
Okay, yeah.
All right, and Mama, listen, it was a different time. I know you're going to hate that I tell this story, but I turned out okay, and so did everybody else. And truth be told, probably so would our kids today, but we just don't do it because it's not cool.
Yeah.
But back in the day, your mom would run into the grocery store, and she wouldn't take you. She'd leave you in the car. All right, we all know that was the case. Everybody did it. Mom was going to be like, I didn't do it. Not my babies. They came with me. But I remember one time, very specifically, we were leaving church, and it was dark. It was on a Wednesday night. And we were stopping by the Winn-Dixie and the grocery store. And
Winn-Dixie.
And I was in the parking lot. And Mom went in and I was in there by myself. It was dark outside. And I turned the radio on. And I was digging through and I came across this song. And truthfully, I don't even know if I knew who the Doors were at the time. Mm-hmm. But this song came on that I would later come to know well as When the Music's Over.
Ooh.
And when he gets to that part where he's saying, what have we done to the earth? What have we done to our fair sister but ravaged and stuck her with knives and dragged her with fences and, he's going through all this and I'm going, whoa. What's happening? And then when he gets to that part where he says, we want the world and we want it.
We want the world and we want it.
Now. And then he asks the question.
Now?
And then all of a sudden he lets that scream out in the
and
band.
they were kicked, man.
Gosh.
They were rocking.
Such a great thing. That really did send me into warp mode when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to it in the car alone in the Winn-Dixie parking lot in the dark. But as we find on these lists, most of these bands that scared me as a kid became my favorite bands.
Oh.
That might be a prerequisite. You need to scare me to be high on my list.
Hey, maybe so. And I only say this about the Doors. And Caleb is a bigger fan of the Doors than me. I'm a big fan of the Doors. I think, and it's not like our list is done or whatever, but I'll just go ahead and make the statement. For me, I think the Doors are the darkest band in the history of rock music.
Give me some of that. Give me some of that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The Doors are the darkest band.
I mean, they're dark, man. Even because the stuff that we were talking about, like people are strange when you're strange, like that's not going to make it on the scary list. But listen to that mess. That's dark, man.
Is dark.
You know what I'm saying? Into the Night. I mean, all of it, really.
Just go ahead and take freaking Not to Touch the Earth. While we're on it. Listen, Not to Touch the Earth is a psycho, carnival, demented work that it's got this half step, and the lyrics are weird and heavy, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
That was on our list.
Yeah.
Not to touch the earth. On Waiting for the Sun, which actually is my favorite Doors album, I think. And that's a scary song.
Oh man, yeah.
Horse Latitude.
That one's on there.
Horse Latitude is another Doors song that's unfair. That's not a song, but it's a track with a title on an album.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's a good one to listen to for if you want to get freaked out. What else do we have?
Yeah.
Do we have any other Doors while we're on?
No. I mean, really, we could just talk about the Doors forever, but we shouldn't. We should stay on message. Cirrus Minor. Did we talk about that?
We haven't talked about Cirrus Minor.
Cirrus Minor, Pink Floyd, is it's got this chromatic descending, and it's this cool line down. Yeah, it's dark and it's real mellow. I mean, it's a super mellow song, so it's not heavy and dark.
But there's stuff going on.
But there's like background noises and just like it's a weird song. Again, Pink Floyd's got a lot to offer. Cirrus Minor, I love it. I think it's a great song.
I love it too, but I have to think, like, if I was walking down an alleyway and it's dark and I'm by myself and somebody just started playing Cirrus Minor,
it'd be weird.
It's not like Backstreet's Back, all right. I'd be
Nope,
like, yeah, where are we at now? All right, but I wouldn't be like that. I'm kidding.
No.
But if somebody put that on,
yeah,
I might think a little different about it. That situation is I'm gonna need to pep up my step just a little bit.
Cirrus Minor will get you moving on down the road.
The classic scary one, everyone's scariest, Black Sabbath. I don't know that that's the scariest one for us, but it's definitely a scary song.
It's got a very famous interval, right?
Yeah, the tritone.
The tritone that was actually, in what period was it that was outlawed?
Oh, that was the whole Renaissance period. That was an outlawed interval. It's called the Devil's Interval.
Yeah,
It's dark. It's a sharp fourth or a flat five away from the root, and it's dome, dome, dome.
Yeah.
That's a really nasty thing. But it's the story, I think, that makes that a little more frightening. And if you ever heard Black Sabbath tell the story, they were into some mess that was not God-honoring, obviously. And I don't know that they were... I think here's what happened with Black Sabbath. They were looking at things like a lot of people did back in the 70s, but they were not satanic people, okay? And they'll be the first to tell you that. What they did was the labels... kind of propelled an image. Yeah. And they said, "Oh, nobody's really pushed this whole dark thing. This is dangerous, but let's milk this thing for all it's worth."
Yeah, make that money.
If you listen to Sabbath, they were kind of like a blues band early on,
right?
Yeah. But they kind of milked that whole thing, and then Sabbath kind of did what Alice Cooper did. They kind of fell into it, and next thing you know, Ozzy is the Prince of Darkness, you know, and like that's the shtick that he wears, and it's more like a caricature of something, you know. But early on, not the case. First album, not the case. So what happens is before the first album comes out, they're a band and they're in Birmingham, England, and they're rough, blue collar guys, and they're digging into some stuff that they probably shouldn't have been, or they definitely shouldn't have been messing with, but they were looking into stuff like the occult and some Satanism and stuff like that. Well, Geezer brings in this book, or Ozzy brings in this book. It's Ozzy or Geezer, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Let's say Ozzy brings in this book, and Geezer, it's some Satanist book, and he puts it down on the edge of his bed, doesn't think anything about it. He goes to sleep, and the story has it that he wakes up in the middle of the night, and there's a black figure at the foot of his bed, and he points at him, and he grabs the book and disappears out the window. So Geezer woke up the next morning and wrote Black Sabbath, the song. So when you say, what is this that stands before me?
Yeah.
Finger in black that points to me, you know, and see those flames get higher and higher, you know, tell me I'm the chosen one. Oh, no. It's a terrifying freaking song.
Oh, yeah, scary song.
But it's more about the interval doesn't scare me too bad. It's the content, and you hear it and you go, whoo.
Yeah.
It's just chilling.
Chilling stuff.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Let's get into some of those honorable mentions.
The honorable mentions we got,
Was there anything we left off?
No, I mean, I don't think so.
Wet My Bed is kind of...
we didn't know.
Wet My Bed might be a little bit more... It might be a little bit more disturbing than it is.
Like scary.
Yeah, it's just Scott Weiland stoned out of his mind in the studios.
Stoned to a Pilot Soon.
Yeah.
But it's kind of got... Honestly, I will compare it to another song we've already talked about. This Pierrot Lunaire thing.
Oh, yeah.
And what'd you call that?
Pierrot Lunaire.
Sprechstein. Sprechstein. Honestly, Scott Weiland does a little bit of that.
Yeah.
With some stutters and some other stuff, but it's just like a really kind of... you know.
I wish... Maybe she...
It's just like a stuttering mess.
Oh, Stone Temple Pilots are so freaking good.
They are very, very good. Rock and roll music.
Hey, listen. I think that's all we had written down. Here's the deal. If you know scary songs, now listen. Remember our thing. Don't send us like, you know, death do us part. You know, crazy dead baby songs. You know, like if it's corny, it doesn't count. Yeah. But if you think there's some dope
legit kind of terrifying
that we've missed, let us know. Mm-hmm. All right, but other than that, I think we've got now. Jay, what do you think? I think we should actually play them one of the scariest songs ever.
Scariest song. Hey, listen, scariest song I've ever heard in my life.
Is it?
I'm just gonna say it. We're gonna do so. A lot of times.
Well, I don't think we should tell them. I don't think we should tell them the name. I think we should just play it. What, do you want to tell them the name?
No, let's not tell them the name. We'll just surprise them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but just do this when you watch this part. Make sure you have a companion with you.
Yeah, it's
Make sure you have your fuzzy little man peach with you.
Yeah, absolutely. What you doing in my waters?
What you doing in my waters? Why is your hook in my head?
That's right.
All right, so
just get somebody to watch this part with you. We're gonna
some Baileys and yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna play you the scariest song that we know. Do you wanna count it in?
Well, until next time, Jay, we'll see you then. Peace 1, out. 2, 3, 4.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his lab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the mash. He did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It caught on in a flash. He did the mash. He did the monster mash.
From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, the ghouls all came from their humble abode to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sound. Igor on chains, backed by his banging hound. The coffin bangers were about to arrive when their vocal group, the Crypt Kickified. They played the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They played the Monster Mash.
Out from the coffin, Drax's voice would ring. Seems he's troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?" It's now the Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. Oh, they call it a Monster Mash.
Now everything's cool, Drex's part of the band. And my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you.